Bill and I became friends in college and then found out that we didn't live very far from each other, so that's where it started.
We first met at Western. We'd all meet on the side of the street in the morning and crash study for the classes coming up that day. So we became friends that way.
During college, Bill started dating my sister, Sarah.
I went over to the Stewart's house to pay rent. We rented a house from the Stewarts, and Sarah, my wife, came to the door and asked me to the prom, and then a few years later, we got married.
It was funny. I told Sarah, I said, he's not gonna date you. He's dating all these girls from Louisville and stuff. He's not gonna be dating you. But she had a plan and she worked it, and she was right and I was wrong, so. Yeah.
In the beginning, I think Mr. Stewart decided, he said, what do you guys really want to do? Do you want to continue with this construction?
We both said, we don't know. Whatever comes up, I guess. And he said, well, I've been thinking about doing some development, and I think it would be a good idea to have a construction company. And Bill and I said, well, that's fine with us, but neither one of us know anything about, a construction company and how to run one. He said, that's okay, I'll teach you.
In the beginning, we did a lot of stuff together, really worked nice because Buster liked the paperwork in the office. I hated the paperwork in the office. I loved the jobs, and I loved to, make sure the jobs went right. So it was the perfect blend for us.
Dad and Bill both were really good carpenters. I wasn't. So I figured I was gonna have to find something that I like to do that they didn't like to do in order to fit in and make it work, and so everybody be productive. So on the front end of it, I ended up doing a lot of the books and going out and visiting with potential clients and selling the jobs and promoting the company and things like that.
Me and Buster work well together and still are good friends, and that's kind of rare, and there's some give and take. Sometimes we didn't 100% agree, but most of the time we did, and we always worked it out.
Yeah, we both knew that the odds of it working were against us because, one, we was a startup company, and two, we were a startup company in family. And those two combinations are typically not very successful. And so we knew that we would have to work harder if we wanted to make it work. And so Bill was not afraid of work at all. I mean, he put in endless hours.
Well, I guess the main goal is to make money, of course.
Make money. That's always the goal, just make money.
I really enjoyed the custom homes, because you get to express yourself.
Bill has tons of patience, and you have to have tons of patience to do residential work. Well, I like commercial work because it was less emotional, it was more dollars and cents, and time was important, and that fit my way of thinking better. But we did both for the longest time.
We got into doing commercial, and commercial goes so much quicker. Of course, we had a lot of good people, thank goodness, that could run the jobs. But, I was always wanting to be involved in all of them. And it was hard to do when we got to that point. And that came quicker than we ever dreamed. It's just been a blessing from day one. Me and Buster had kind of sat down a couple of times and thought, how are we ever gonna bring an end to this? Because we're starting to get some age. I mean, I'm starting to have a lot of back problems. So we kind of thought, well, what do we do? Do we sell all the equipment and tell all the employees we're done, or do we try to sell the company to somebody that will continue maybe to run the company? And we talked about that quite a bit. Then Houchins actually came to us.
I can remember sitting down with Bill and I said, look, Bill, who buys construction companies? And I said, we've got an opportunity here to sell, and what's our options? If we don't sell, sooner or later, we're gonna quit, and a lot of people are gonna be looking for new jobs. If we take this offer, everything stays intact, all of our employees have still got a job, and the company keeps going on.
We sat down and spent some time figuring out what we thought would be a good price for the company. And, we didn't know how to do this. We just put an estimate on. We put all that together and we went back to Houchins and they looked at it for a day or two and they called us back and they said, yeah, we'd still like to do the deal, but you you don't think you're worth enough. Now, when does that happen? So then they said, here's what we think you're worth. And it surprised us. That started a great relationship.
It gave a future to all of our employees because we wasn't going to be relying on whether Bill and I were around, because, you know, a bigger company owns it. They'll bring in management as existing management retires, and it was good for the future of our employees.
Whenever Houchins bought Stewart Richey, you know, Buster and Bill had agreed to stay on a certain amount of time. There was a need to start thinking about what the succession plan of Buster and Bill was going to look like. Buster come to a couple of us, Rodney Rogers being one. He was manager of the grade drain and utility division, and myself, which I was still involved with the service and doing some things over here on the contracting side. So in 2005, when Bill retired, Buster becomes CEO, or he was CEO of the company. Rodney Rogers become president of the company, and I become vice president.
Buster Stewart was planning his succession plan from the very beginning, actually before he sold the company to Houchins. Of course, it was a really good deal for them. It gave them an exit strategy for the company that otherwise would have been a major undertaking to do something with the company to be able to retire if they had not sold to Houchins. So it was very good for Bill and Buster, but that wasn't the main reason that they did it. I think it was very important for them, for the company to remain intact for the employees' sake.
Buster and Bill couldn't have handpicked a better company to sell the business to than Houchins Industry. They support us and push us to continue growing as an organization and as individuals. And everything they do, everything they think about is how does this positively affect 18,000 plus other associates that work for Houchins Industry in that ESOP benefit. And all of the 320 or so employees that we have here at Stewart Richey, if they'll just stay the course and put their time in, it'll be a life-changing benefit for them.
It basically locked in the future of the employees that were here at the time for several years, and then also the future for employees still yet to come. The Houchins Industry ESOP is and has been and will remain to be a life-changing event for several employees.
At Houchins Industries, the key to our success is investing in diversified companies, and it's really the key to our success is the hardworking people of each of our subsidiaries. I think what makes our company special is the fact that we are 100% employee-owned. So that means ultimately 100% of the profits of the company ultimately get distributed to the hardworking people. One of the secrets to our strategy is to buy good people that happen to run good companies. And we're very proud of Stewart and Richey and all the people that work there and everything they've accomplished in the last 50 years.
Roddy and I took the succession plan for what we would have to come up with when it did come time for me to retire. We took it very seriously.
Rodney retired, and then I had an opportunity to advance to CEO and president of the company.
Buster could not have chosen a better number 2 guy or someone to put behind me than Roddy.
We never were really micromanaged by Buster. You know, Buster allowed us to come in and run our divisions as if they were our own companies. That's what's made a lot of people, managers, people that have come up through the trade and become managers of Stewart Richey, so successful. It's been a great career.
Roddy will take Stewart Richey to places that Buster was never capable of, nor I was ever capable of.
Well, you know, it's a really good feeling to know that you started something and built something that has survived 50 years, because, like we said, odds were against us even making it through the first year. So to make it this long and at the level that Stewart Richey's at, you know, it makes you pretty proud.
We just enjoyed what we were doing. It just kind of came natural. I would never dream to have grown into so many employees as we had. And the company's still doing well. We couldn't have found a better couple of guys to carry on the tradition. And there's still a lot of employees under them that really make the company too. You know, it was never me or Buster. It's our employees.
I don't know any other contracting company that offers all the different trades under one roof that we offer. And so that's Buster and Bill's vision. So if it weren't for Buster and Bill and the groundwork they laid and the sacrifices that they made over those founding years, I truly don't think we would be who we are today.
Who knows what the future holds for the next 50 years, but I do know this. In the last 50 years, the folks at Stewart and Richey have worked so hard for so long, and we're so proud of them. And I don't want to limit what they may be in the future or predict what the revenues might be in 50 years. But I do know they're an important asset to our ESOP. We're very proud of the fact that they're here locally in Bowling Green, where Houchins Industries headquarters are, and just they're poised to take advantage of all of the positive momentum in our geographic area.